Hello, Susan Young here. In this video, I will be covering Shopaholics and how debt has affected them. It is unclear who first said money can't buy happiness. Whoever it was, they probably weren't staring at a tall stack of bills and an empty checking account. Money can't buy happiness, but it is the only thing that will pay those bills. Doing that may trigger an endorphin rush of happiness, but it sure beats the alternative. It's hard to imagine anyone feeling joy over not paying their bills. Perhaps there is a psychiatric condition that causes people to enjoy bankruptcy proceedings, but nobody's found it yet. Having enough money to pay all our bills allows us to provide for our families, plan for the future, and enjoy our leisure time. Not having money restricts our choices and wreaks emotional havoc on our physique. Borrowing money to pay those bills leads to debt, which can lead to all sorts of problems that have nothing to do with accounting and everything to do with psychology. Among the negative effects are low self-esteem and impaired cognitive functioning. That means you can't remember, you can't learn, be attentive, or solve problems as well when you're freaking out over a water bill. And get this, debt can hurt. I mean, really hurt. A study of 33,720 U.S. households published in the January edition of Psychology Science found that those with higher levels of unemployment were more likely to purchase over-the-counter painkillers. That wasn't particularly surprising, but a research team discovered that simply thinking about the prospect of financial insecurity was enough to increase pain. People reported feeling almost twice as much physical pain after recalling a financially unstable time in their life compared to those who thought about a secure period. It's rare for someone to never have money problems. Trouble happens, jobs disappear, marriages fail, people get sick, their homes lose value, and bills just keep piling up. No one is immune. So what came first, the pain or the debt? Responding to debt. Does debt cause mental illness, or does mental illness cause debt? Yes, that's the best answer researchers have come up with after years of study. Some research found that worrying about debt triggers stress, which reduces your resilience against mental health problems. Other studies show mental health problems decrease self-control, increase spending, and basically mess up a person's financial judgment. That would explain why Jack Nicholson didn't have a checking account and one flew over the cuckoo's nest. But when we say mental illness caused by debt, we're not talking about a full-bore disorder like schizophrenia that requires wearing a straitjacket. The problems are less glaring, but they can still take you to still tie up you in knots. Behavior patterns that compel some to spend without restraint can drive a person into debt, just as surely as a financial emergency caused by a car crash. Regardless of how someone falls behind, being in debt can trigger unsettling emotional responses. Denial. No, it's not just a river in Africa. It's a way of fiscal life in Washington, D.C., where politicians have let almost $20 trillion in national debt pile up and seem to think the bill will never come due. Consumers don't have the luxury of endless deficient spending, though many act as if they do. They spend compulsively while ignoring their deteriorating condition. They put off dealing with problems until some outside event, credit denied, threat of foreclosure, legal action, harassing phone calls from debt collectors forces a change. Some of the symptoms of debt denial are underestimating how much you owe, not answering the phone when you suspect a collection agency is calling, leaving bills unopened or just stuffing them in a drawer, opening a new credit card when your old one is maxed out, telling yourself that everyone is in the same situation. Such behavior just leads to more debt as interest charges and late fees pile up. But ignoring reality is a handy defense mechanism for the brain. It's a way to rationalize mistakes and protect your ego. The problem is, reality always sets in. Stress. It's the opposite of denial, and there's plenty of it based on debt management statistics. Debt and stress are like co-joined twins. The average U.S. household with credit card debt has balances totaling $16,748, and the average household with any kind of debt owes $134,643, according to a Nerd Wallet study. Conversely, 72% of Americans said they felt stressed about money, according to an American Psychological Association study. And 22% said they felt extreme stress over their finances. So what exactly is stress? In modern terms, financial terms, that means you hyperventilate when the Visa bill arrives. Stress may be hard to define, but it manifests itself in obvious ways. Lack of sleep, loss of focus, nagging worry. It can affect big things like your job, since you fear losing it would make your financial situation even worse. It can affect small things like lunch, since you feel guilty for ordering a $3.19 iced tea instead of water. You don't need a doctor to tell you that that's no way to live. Fear and panic. This is stress with the scab torn off. The thought of getting a late payment notice doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it gives you a rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, dry mouth, a headache, and the shakes. On top of that, debt gives skittish people one more reason not to walk down the marriage aisle. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin found that high levels of debt contribute to reduced marriage rates among young adults. The National Institute of Mental Health estimates 40 million Americans suffer from anxiety. Financial worries are a massive trigger for those disorders. You assume the worst, like that you'll be homeless if your house gets foreclosed, or your car is going to break down on the way to work and you're going to get fired for being late. Nobody wants to live like that, and apparently they don't want to marry anyone who lives like that either. Anger. As the economy sagged, anger issues rose. The phenomenon got its own name in medical circles, debt-anger syndrome. Instead of panicking or denying, victims get mad. They are mad at creditors who continually send them bills, mad at the mailman for delivering the bills, mad at their bosses for not paying them more, mad at their spouses for not making more money, mad at their kids for needing new braces, and mad at themselves for getting into this fix. In short, they are mad at life. This not only can ruin relationships, the psychological effects can lead to migraines, heart disease, and reduce your resilience to infections. Depression. People deny, freak out, and lash out over debt. After they work through those stages, the bills are still staring them back in the face. That's when depression sets in. People who struggle with debt are more than twice as likely to suffer from depression. according to a study by the University of Nottingham in England. Hopelessness sets in, as does low self-esteem. It can lead to even more debt, since sufferers sometimes try to relieve their depression by treating themselves to a shopping spree or some other mental getaway. But all that does is lead to more debt, which leads to more depression and despair. At that point, people don't care whether their pain is caused by debt or debt is causing their pain. Relief. The good news about debt and mental illness is the treatment can be pretty simple. You don't need to spend money on medication or spend time on a psychiatrist's couch. You just need to get out of debt. Easier said than done, of course, but it can be done if you get a plan and stick to it. Whatever the cause of you plunging into an uncomfortable level of debt, your goal should be to reduce your expenses, increase your monthly payments to creditors, reduce interest rates, and pay off your bills by a set date. The mere act of starting to dig out of financial hole is a positive first step that will make you feel better. Many consumers have done that by contacting a debt management agency. Here's what I suggest if you are in debt. Go to the YouTube channel Zero Debt Coach. Brad Long can direct you with your finances. Brad and I will be working together to help you to be successful. When you go to his channel, tell him Stop Big Spending or Susan Young sent you. Question of the day. How has being in debt affected you? Feel free to comment below or ask questions. How are you doing with this video so far? If you like this video, hit the like button below. Check out my website at www.stopbigspending.com. Leave me your email address at the Contact Us page on the website, and I will inform you on my next videos coming up. See you next week here on YouTube, and see you in social media. Have a great week.